Unlocking marital bliss.
Glad that you can join me this very afternoon right here at Unlocking Marital Bliss. First and foremost, I want to make something very, very clear. Raising children, what does it mean to raise a child? What does it mean to raise up a child? Who's responsible for raising a child? Is it supposed to be the woman? Is it supposed to be the man? Are you going to give up all the responsibility and you say, it's my role to make money and your role to raise the child? Many of you think in that manner, and that's why our children have failed to be what they really would be and what they ought to be. But tonight we're going to talk about raising children in this generation. How can we do it good? Who's supposed to do it? Is it the ladies or the men? We're going to find out in just a little minute from now. Who is supposed to raise the children? The ladies or the men? We'll see you in a minute.
Unlocking marital bliss.
We'll be back. You're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss with me, Cyrus Rod, and it's always a pleasure to be able to share with you, to be able to talk to you, to reach out in your living rooms. And I want to remind you, the number you just see on your screen right over there, please don't call. My prayer, don't call. Simply send a text or send a WhatsApp because we're getting overwhelmed. And remember to always join us or follow us on YouTube. Like us, just click that bell. I mean, let's flow together. There are many videos. Many of you have been asking, can you give us more of the videos of Unlocking Marital Bliss? You can find a whole entire wealth of knowledge and wisdom when you go to our YouTube page. Like it and follow us. It's really going to be an honor. You won't be able to remain the same. And so that number, you just send a message or WhatsApp. Thank you so much. Yes, our YouTube page, be able to like it. And hey, before I introduce my guest, I speak to all of you people from Bunyoro. We're coming to Masindi. We're coming to Masindi. Get ready. November 25, 26, we're coming to Masindi. It's going to be big. Are you married? Are you dumped? Are you forgotten? Whatever situation, if you think about love, we're having the Love Festival in Masindi, November 25, 26, with Bishop Robert Kawa Atenyi. Yes, Robert Kawa Atenyi. So together with me now, would you welcome my guest, Pastor Philip Nyombi?
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure to have you. You know, these days, we don't really shake hands.
Sometimes I forget. I'm
Yeah,
not used to the formalities that are coming
Yeah,
around.
formalities have come up because of the Ebola outbreak.
Ebola.
And we want your families to stay firm. We want your families to be good. So the best we can do is
this.
just a fist punch or a fist pump. That alone is able to work out. You just, So we want to stay alive, okay?
Yes.
So, Pastor Philip, it's a pleasure to have you here.
It is my pleasure too.
And we're facing a situation. I'm glad you can always come in every time we call on you.
Yeah.
You're changing lives over there.
It is my
all
opportunity.
over the world.
Yes.
But now I'm looking at something that I raised called Raising Children in the 21st Century. What are the pros, the cons? What are the challenges? Who's supposed to raise them? Is it the man? Is it the woman? It's not about anything, that we are just saying in our days it was different. I want to open up the floor to you.
I thank God for this opportunity to sit on this bench every now and then.
Yeah.
And I don't take it for granted. I want to thank our viewers that are really following us every now and then, every clip that comes by. They are there to watch. They are there to sit in their sitting room and watch. When you talk about raising children in our generation, it's one of the challenges that the world is facing.
Yes.
I know, Pastor Silas, you have moved across the nations. You've seen how people are struggling to raise children.
Yes.
Which wouldn't be a case, which wouldn't be a matter so much. But because of the latest technologies that are coming by, Some of the children are raised by internet, are raised by all those Google provisions, which is not the core value of God.
Yes.
God created family, and family is based on love,
Yes.
which love brings us together as a woman and a man,
Yes.
and we become one.
Okay.
Like laying my foundation today, family is something that will live until God comes to take us back home. Family never
will
dies.
always be there.
Family will always be there.
Yes.
Now, family's foundation, the foundation on which we build, is called love.
Yes.
Which means is godly value. God
Yes.
is love.
Yes.
And then we are building on love.
Yes.
This is how family begin. A man conceives the seed of love in him, and then thinks soberly that I need a partner in life. Not like
so family is now going to be started by one person.
By one person.
The
always,
man.
Yeah. In the beginning, it was started by God. God inserted the idea into Adam.
Yes.
And then we see Eve coming in the picture.
So you're saying the family begins with the man. You pointed that out, and that's why I'm hanging on to it.
Yeah.
Begins with the man.
Any family which doesn't begin with a man, that one I don't know it. But family begins with a man.
So when the family begins with the man, with the man, the male, that means whatever comes thereafter, that means, in fact, everything that is supposed to flow is going to be rotating and evolving around
the man.
The man.
A man is the pivot of the family. A man is the center of the family. Now, a man gets an idea of love.
Yes.
A thought which comes from God, which emanates from God.
Yes.
That I need to have love.
Yes.
Then finds a woman. The Bible says they become
one.
That creates a seed of love in a man, which brings a woman in the picture. And then the seed of love grows them together.
Okay.
They grow into a stem.
They become a stem.
They become a stem. Both of them equally growing together in love.
Yes.
Then they get branches, which branches are the children. Let alone that will bear fruits and their fruits will remain. Yes. So when I say family will live for generations, I don't want us to drive back to our ancestors. Let's begin with you. Let's begin with me. Because I got this seed of love. I planted it into my wife. Yes. Then we are growing a stem, which stem has gotten branches, which branches are our children.
The seed of love beginning with the man.
Yeah.
You share this seed with the woman.
Yes.
Both of you grow together to become
agree
a stem.
To the seed.
Agree to the seed.
Become a fertile ground. And then the same seed grows into you because love grows into us.
Yes.
The way I started to love my wife is not the same way I love her now. It has grown so broader, so big, so high, that sometimes I'm lost in it.
It has grown so big, so broad.
Yeah. But I'm sometimes lost in it. I don't know if she's...
There are people watching us who are thinking,
how does it grow?
Brother Philip, you don't even understand, because the way I started loving my wife, this thing has become narrow and narrow and narrow and narrow.
I actually may understand through the series of counseling I've held with people, but it is not interpreted and transacted in me because I know what is love. And I've seen love grow.
It grows.
In me.
So if it's not growing, it ain't love.
It is not. Love
You've
grows.
walked away from love.
Yeah.
Because love grows.
You have left love standing. You just walk away.
So when you walk away from love, it becomes selfishness.
Yeah, you become selfish. Because I hear people say...
selfishness is what gets you narrow and narrow and narrow.
I hear people say that, I lost the interest. We are not talking about interest.
It's not about interest.
I walked away from that family.
I don't feel anything.
I don't feel anything. Probably it wasn't there even in the beginning.
It wasn't there in the beginning.
There. Now, when we come to raising children, as you stated it, like my foundation is in a picture, image of the tree, which grows. And the roots, the deepness of the roots are in God, because God initiated love. God is love. God
Yes.
gives us love, and we give out love to women.
Thank
Women
you.
come into us, and we are, married together.
Okay.
The
Become
word
one.
married is like a Potterman may understand it so good.
Yes.
Married is like you'll never be separated.
Yes.
You'll never be put asunder. Like when you put a concrete and someone comes later and say, hey, give me my water out of that concrete. It is, you can't redeem it out.
Yes.
Now, when we grow together in love,
Yes.
that means we'll be able to have children, and our children will grow to reflect the love that we have.
Yes.
So meaning, in this sense, it becomes easier to raise children when you have love, when you have been married together in love, and you have God in the center, and loving God as the author, the starter, the beginner of love. Now, man in the pivot,
Yes.
man in the center, who started this love, who has begotten the children,
Yes.
is able to give out ways, guidance, in love,
Yes.
how to raise children.
How to raise
Because
children.
women are very good addition to our lives, and the
Yes.
Bible called them suitable helpers.
Yeah.
So when whatever you do, in every way that you do it, in every format, I don't care. It may not be my way.
Yeah.
Silas's way may not be my way of love, but when love is in the center, your woman will be able to help you, and you raise your children.
So in other words,
Yes.
now you've mentioned about how the seed starts, how it begins with a man, and then the man is able to grow. The man is able to get to a point where he reaches out to the woman, and then they become one. And when they become one, then they're still able to move. It becomes a stem,
Yeah.
which stem produces branches. The branches are the children.
The children.
And it goes on. So you're all together.
Yeah.
So you are the foundation.
The man is the foundation.
We are living in a generation where we have a lot of single mothers. A lot of single mothers. And so we are talking about raising children. So most kids today are being raised by mothers.
Oh.
In fact, mothers, if you want to prove this, you look at when this child has achieved something, probably on their graduation day, most of them, if they're called upon to make a speech, they're going to start, I want to thank my mother. I want to thank mama. Mama, thank you. Mama, thank you. And you're thinking, where's Papa? Because it's about mama, thank you. Even the guys watching us right now, they're going to yeah, to me, it's been mama. Papa never showed up in my life. It's been mama, mama.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, everybody's like, I want to thank mama. I want to thank mama. I want to thank mama. And where are the guys?
That is one of the problems
And
that
this
we need
is
to
what we're
address.
having
Yeah,
now.
that's where we're having the problems.
Where
Because
are the
now,
guys?
we have been driven away from the foundation.
Yes.
God's way of doing things. When we talk about family, we are talking about God, God the Father.
Yes.
God the Father. In this picture, if a man is the Godhead representative in the family.
Thank you.
So when the man loses their seat,
yes.
then we are going into all those details of how mama did this or mama did that.
So hard to
So
find
if a
where
man stayed in the seat
in their position.
and they knew exactly what they were doing
Yes.
as the pivot, as the center, as the beginner of this stem that you're looking out for,
Yes.
then these genetical modified ways of statement wouldn't have come in the picture.
As long as the man goes and, you know,
Yeah.
and it's what people are used to.
Yes.
It's been mama. We hardly get a moment where you're able to say, I would like to thank my father and my mother.
And my mother.
You guys
Or
have
my
been
parents.
there. Or my parents.
Yes.
It's been very challenging. And now you've raised it up and said, it's once the father gets out of place,
Yes.
that's where problems begin from.
Substitutes begin.
Substitutes begin.
Yeah. It may
which
even go to uncles or whoever that came in the picture.
Came in the picture.
Yeah, it
to
may
try
go to a lot
uphold
of
you.
Yeah.
Because dad was not
Well,
there.
yeah, it wasn't there.
And I think the men in our
Yes.
generation
Yes.
are so much focused on having pleasure. Having pleasure but they're never focused on discipline.
Oh, you've mentioned the discipline.
It's always pleasure because you have a child.
Yes.
The moment you're going to have a child, Guy, you have to understand, before I have this child, I must love the mother.
Don't even talk about that. The moment you think of talking to that girl that I love you, the moment you mention that out, look into the broader picture of how it can go, where it can go,
Where it
the
can
extreme it can end.
Bring forth a child.
Don't think about pressure in this. Don't even think, if you are a man representing our image,
Yes.
the moment you see this beautiful girl and you say, hey, I need to talk to you about something, and you're
Yes.
intending to have something, or to love this woman,
Yes.
just, focus in the things that may come after. Anything can happen from there.
Anything can happen.
Are you in
Thank
love?
you.
Do you
Are
really
you
love
in
this
love?
girl?
We are so much taken by pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And which pleasure, you see, pleasure can come in different ways.
Yes.
At times, somebody can have the pleasure, but they forget that it requires, true pleasure requires boundaries.
Sure.
When pleasure doesn't have boundaries,
Yes.
then it becomes an addiction, it becomes indiscipline.
Yes.
The consequences are unbelievable.
Unpredictable.
All pleasure requires boundaries.
Boundaries, yes.
That's why you find people, they say, I can marry. When you marry, you're saying, I'm accepting boundaries for the pleasure we're going to have together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, you're right there.
I'm accepting
Yeah.
boundaries
Yes.
for the pleasure we're going to have together.
Yes. Boundaries.
That means the pleasure is going to be only between you and me.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else.
Nobody else.
The pleasure is going to be between you and me. When the children come, I'm 100% responsible
Yes.
as a father, and I take up my responsibility.
Yes.
But as long as it's just pleasure that doesn't have boundaries, the moment people go and sleep together,
Yes.
and then a child pops up,
Yes.
the men are ready to take off,
They take off.
call for, what do we call it? Oh, we got to abort. I am ready for that. In fact, we don't, in our family, we don't even have children. That's how they reason. We don't even have children in our family. And you wonder, who are you? Are you an animal or what? Because you're a child.
Yes.
But they say, no, we don't have children. Now, I think this is where the challenge is. This is where we are going to.
Yeah.
To
Talking
deal with
about
the
treasure,
man who is the foundation. Because in raising children,
yes,
it has to first come back to the man. But remember, the man keeps running because he is not ready
for the responsibility.
for the responsibility.
Yes.
He keeps running
away.
Could that be the reason why the kids are becoming who they're becoming?
Yeah, it is one of the reasons. Now, driving back to the pressure, I don't want to give it so much amplification that it's even there. This is about responsibility.
Yes.
So pressure comes as a bonus, but it is a responsibility you're taking.
Yes.
When you stop a woman, when you visit a woman, when you talk to a woman,
Yes.
and you're talking about love.
Yes.
We mean love as in love.
Yes.
That is dying into someone.
Love, this is how I describe love.
Yeah.
I'm seeking what is good for you at my own expense.
Sure.
In other words, when I say I love you,
Yes.
that means I'm seeking what is good for you at my own expense.
Sure. That is a sacrificed life.
Yes.
Because when we get married, we die into each other.
Okay.
We become one.
Yes.
Are you ready to sell all your selfish, all your personalized, everything that concerns you and give it to this woman? Because this
You're
is
right.
dying. This is about death.
Death.
You are dying to self and you're becoming one. So we die into each other and we become married. It's not about the sexual moment we get. It's about dying into each other.
Dying into each other.
If that gets into someone, if that gets into you, gentlemen, my brother, then you will understand what we are talking about. Some of you may find a lot of excuse, but you are not dead. We are talking about death. Love is sacrifice.
In other words, when I choose to love this woman,
Yes.
I am saying
Yes.
I am not going to seek my own interests.
I'm no longer
I'm
me
going to seek what
for
is
me.
best for
Yeah,
you.
I'm no longer me for me. I'm me for you.
For you.
Yes.
Yes. How
Then
to
that
please
family
you.
begins. Then the seed of love
Yeah.
dies into both of you.
Yes.
Then germinates into what we want to term as our family, as I said.
Yes.
You become a stem,
Yes.
married together, never to be separated.
Yes.
Then you grow into branches, which are the
Yes.
children.
Yes.
Now, we have come to a generation where these scientific modified ways of life has come into a picture, whereby people think I can get a mango tree and how do they call
Graft
that?
it.
Graft it into another tree.
Yeah.
Some families are like that. They're just grafted. But for us, we are original stem seed.
No hybrid.
No hybrid. The Bible does not allow a
Hybrid.
grafted family of type.
Yes.
Now, when you grow like a tree, you never complain about your branches.
No.
No,
It's
it is
part
your
of you
responsibility to bear
to
those,
uphold
to
them.
uphold those branches. These men that say, oh, this is a lot of responsibility or what? No.
I'm not ready for responsibility.
You grow your stem then. Grow your roots in God. Then hold up your branches. This is the responsibility.
Those are your children.
You knew it before. This is how you are supposed to represent us as men. That is how it should be.
Thank you. You know, I love it. Grow
Yeah.
your roots.
Yeah.
You're the stem. Stems never quarrel about branches.
About the heaviness of the
Oh, the
leaves.
branch is too heavy.
No.
They never do that.
No.
But the stem is able to supply the nutrients
Yes.
to the branches.
Yes.
And once they supply the nutrients to the branches begin bearing fruit.
And their fruits will remain.
And the fruits remain.
Yes.
So that means even as a family, as a father,
yes.
Do you know the word father literally refers to source?
Source.
The word head refers to source. Not boss, but source.
Yes.
In other words, as a father, all nutrients are supposed to start with you.
Yes.
You start pushing them up. They even go to your wife, and then they go to your children.
To your children.
To your children.
Yeah.
So you send in the nutrients.
Sure.
There's a word in Genesis 18:19. The reason why God chose Abraham. I usually think about it. Why did God choose Abraham? They were made. What was the purpose? This is what it says in Genesis 18:19. That I have chosen Abraham. I have chosen Abraham because I know that he will teach his children, teach his household to obey me.
Yes.
Then will I fulfill everything I've promised to Abraham. That all the promises God gives is saying, Abraham, you do your part. What's your part?
Yes.
Make sure those people get to know about me. Make sure those children get to know about me.
Yes.
And then I fulfill everything I promised you.
Sure.
In other words, he had told him, you will have, children as many as the stars. In order to have a posterity, Abraham had to start teaching the immediate family, his children, who God is, the right way to go, the mannerisms, the way to behave, in line with the God who called him.
Sure.
So this means any man who has been called of God begins with sending in. You know, it hurts.
Yes.
When you leave $1 million for your child,
and
but they're not able to handle $1 million because you never raised them.
You never raised them.
You
never
raised
trained
money,
them.
but you never raised the child.
Sure.
You raised businesses, but you never raised the child. And nothing hurts like going out when you had children and they're stupid in old age. Imagine you have a child and at 40 years, they're still behaving like they're 22-year-olds, or rather teenagers.
Because you aren't able to do this transferable concept into your children.
Into your children. Yes. So now you are different. You were too busy. I need to take a break. And when I come back, we're going to start from there with Pastor Philip. Busy drinking instead of raising your babies.
Unlocking marital bliss. Unlocking marital bliss.
We'll be back once again. You're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss. And before we took a break, Pastor Philip had just said, you don't try to be drunkards. And, you see, when I don't know who I am, I don't know who I am, I tend to abuse me. And because when I don't know who I am, I hate who I am. When I hate who I am, I abuse what I hate. You get me? I abuse what I hate. So when I don't know who I am, I feel unworthy. I feel empty. I feel unwanted. So what do? I start hating myself because of the feelings of rejection and worthlessness. I start hating myself in a way. So in hating myself, I want to feel good as a man. So the first thing, what can make me feel good? Let me have sex. Sex makes people feel good. So I go to have sex, not because I have the long-term agenda, but because I want to feel good. I want to feel good. Now, in the process of me trying to feel good, if I don't turn to sex, before long, sex won't be very much. I will bring in alcohol, and it still won't be very much because I'm trying to numb the pain. The pain doesn't go away by having sex. You might have sex with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100 people. You ask Solomon in the Bible,
the same,
he had 1,000. He didn't say this was a mess. He called it a mess. He said, no, this was wrong. And today, fools believe I can try what Solomon did.
Did you say fools?
Yes, that's what I say.
Yes.
That's what I say. Because if you see somebody falling in a ditch and they get up and say, hey guys, don't walk through there. And you say, no, you are a fool. I will walk through there. When you go ahead in the path of destruction, you're called a fool.
A fool, yes.
Because you ignore the example.
Yes.
Solomon came in as an example. That you don't numb the pain by seeking pleasure. You numb the pain. You don't numb the pain by seeking pleasure. Rather, how do you deal with the pain? You make a relationship. You connect with your maker. When you connect with your maker, he is able to tell you who you are.
Yes.
Because he made you. When he tells you who you are, it's relationship that gives you a sense of belonging. Then you begin feeling worthy.
Yes.
But usually when you find a woman, it's not that you're going to really go ahead. It's the pleasure. So a man ends up just having sex and wants to move on and have sex with another one. In Uganda, we have over 50 tribes. And somebody's going to be thinking, oh yeah, I need them Toro. I need them Chiga. Need them Nyankole. I need a Randis. I need an Acholi. I need to try everything. No, you're not trying everything. You're killing yourself. The pain is not destroyed by having more pleasure. The pain inside you is dealt with by having a relationship with the one who made you. Because it's about a sense of being accepted, a sense of being welcomed. You have a relationship. But you having 10 boys won't eliminate the pain. You're numbing. I mean, it's too much. So at the end of the day, somebody collapses. Now, you started. That's the reason I'm adding this in, because you started, and the whole thing begins with a man.
Yes.
Because raising children, many people now have been watching and they're thinking, okay, first do 10 steps, 20 steps. Before we go into that, probably might do another session with this. We first get the foundation. And I don't want to lose it.
Yes.
Man, in order to raise children, you first discover who you are. You will never discover who you are until you connect with who made you. And that is God.
Yes.
You develop a relationship, but remember, you're a pastor. Churches are full of women than men.
Than men, yes.
They believe I would rather go play golf
than going to church.
Than going to church. And then they feel I can keep on doing all this and doing all this and doing all that. You know it?
Yeah.
But the reality is this. When a man connects with God, he discovers who he is. Because he's connected with love, he's now going to train his children in the fear
of God.
Yeah. show them the right way. And the first thing he's going to do,
Yeah.
because he fears God, loves the wife,
Yes.
the next thing he's going to bring forth. What does God say about children and their parents? There's one law that God has given. Children,
To the children,
obey your parents.
so that your days may be
He even adds on a
a
promise.
premise.
Children, obey your what?
Yes.
I want you to talk about that.
Now, like we have talked much of the parents, and
Yes.
we have brought this picture. I want someone to focus it and really put it into consideration, the image of the tree. Then branches come as children who will bear fruits, and their fruits will remain. But now, let's come to a point where people are too much of blaming generations.
Yes.
Blaming my father who wasn't in the picture. I blame my father who didn't do this or the other. Now, that blame game does not help us. Me personally, I wasn't that person that came from that straight good family.
Me neither.
So we have decided by our own
Yes.
to have this image, this
Yes.
picture
Yes.
of God as family men.
Yes.
In my house, I've raised over 50 that are not my biological children.
Amen.
They come to my house to be trained when they see, when they understand a fatherly
father.
figure
Yes.
that is in my life.
Yes.
They come under my care.
Yes.
And I condition them. Now, as a father, you must have rules,
Yes.
regulations,
Yes.
ways of how you connect to your children.
Yes.
Just like a tree that is connected to its branch.
Yes.
John 15 talks about how God is the farmer,
Yes.
Jesus is the tree,
Yes.
we are branches.
Yes.
So we are always connected to God,
Yes.
connected to Jesus, then we become branches. If we don't
And then
bear
we
fruits,
bear fruit.
we'll be trimmed off. And once we are trimmed off, we are burnt. So majority of the people that we see in broken families,
Yes.
those are the children that were trimmed off because of misbehavior and what. Because this may be a good father, but
Yes.
children may choose to misbehave in one way or another.
Choose to disobey.
Disobey. Let alone that disobedient person will never have an image of how
Of
to
the
start,
father.
of the father or to start the family.
Yes.
So before we blame too much of the fathers,
Yes.
me, my father, you, your father, we're
Yeah.
not too much in the picture as we would want.
Yes.
But we've
now
chosen
We've chosen to do better.
to do better.
To do what God
And now we are
desires of
here
us.
telling nations, we
Speaking
have
to them.
chosen this.
Yes.
So don't tell me my father didn't do this. I was raised by my mother. Don't tell me, my mother. Stop that. I want to call it innocence.
It's a spirit of a victim. You're
That
playing
is, yeah.
victim. You
Start-
want everybody to feel
start-
sorry for you.
Yeah, start an embryo. Start something that is going to represent your image.
Yes.
Years to come.
Years to
now,
come.
as you grow your family,
Yes.
as you do not run away from responsibility,
Yes.
as you stand as a stem, as a tree that holds up the branches, let alone we're gonna begin to see people coming under your wings, under your shade. When
Your
you have
shelter.
principles, when
Yes.
you are able to bring all those nutrients through the stem to the branches. I've seen students or children coming back home
Yes.
with my sons, with my
Yes.
girls, to have
Yes.
a holiday in my house.
Yes.
Because they see the discipline in my children.
Yes.
They want to come in the house
yes.
and taste of the goodness they see. Not because we are rich. Of course, we are not. But because of these values that are instilled in our children, that we are able to be seen in our children.
Yes.
So my brother, don't run away from that woman because the woman says this or nags or what, like we said before.
Yeah.
Nagging does not take you off the foundation.
You're still the man.
You are still the man.
You help
Sit
her to stop
down
the
with this
nagging.
lady because you're married now. This is marriage. You're talking about married people.
Yes.
This program goes to those people that are in a covenant.
Yes.
People that are in this sacrifice we mentioned.
Yes.
No exit.
Yes.
So sit down, Find values that you need to instill in your children.
Values.
Make principles that are supposed helping you to run.
Yes.
Make ways of how to fulfill these principles that you've put in family. Me and like the other day, my son,
Yes.
who is yet to graduate as a medical officer, asked me,
Yeah.
were you able to overcome what I'm struggling with when you're this age? He's 24. And I told him, no. At 24, I didn't know what I was doing because I didn't know God.
Yes.
But lucky you now, you know God. So you can do better. You have God and you have me as your example. But to be sincere to you, I didn't know how to overcome struggles because I didn't know God. But as for you, at 8, you gave your life to Christ. So you know God. Me as a father, I can speak to you, but my truth will begin from where I got to know God. That was when I was 25, and you are 24.
Now, you've raised something very good. When we talk about raising children this generation, you talk about connecting.
Yeah.
In fact, you're not able to raise children until you connect with them.
Yes.
That's why you talk of the stem and the branches.
Yeah.
When the Bible says, children, obey your parents in the Lord.
Yes.
Ephesians says, for it is right.
Yes.
In other words, why do you obey your parents? Because it's right.
That's the way.
That's what God says.
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do.
Yes.
So obey your parents in the Lord.
Yes.
And then he goes ahead to say that your days may increase.
Yes.
In other words, when your parent tells you and shows you what the Lord says, you are able to be preserved from what kills the young people. So those teenagers that die out of alcohol abuse, that die out of AIDS because they sleep around, that destroy themselves, do not be destroyed because they are obeying their parents who are showing them the way of the Lord.
Yes.
There's abuse these days where parents are even feeding their young ones alcohol because they themselves are already messed up. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You find a child, a 4-year-old, holding a bottle of beer because daddy drinks beer, so they can also do that. Where's the problem? Daddy has no connection with God. Yes, he can go to church, but no connection with God. Daddy doesn't understand who he is. Daddy is full of pain, and the same pain he's now trying to inflict on his own children. Now, when you spoke of the trees and the branches, and you talked of how your child came to you and talked to you.
Yes.
When I was 24, I couldn't talk to my dad.
Then. Me either. Me.
I couldn't walk to him and say, I'm struggling with this. It was impossible.
Sure.
But I had connected to God at that time.
At that time, yes.
You get it?
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, I couldn't talk to him. The only thing he could do, look for school fees and do all this kind of stuff and drink and do all the kind of stuff. But I made a choice. I'm not going to be like him. I'm going to be what God says about a father. So with connection, because you mentioned it, one able to come and talk to you. It's a real pandemic.
Yes.
Where parents can hardly talk with children. They only talk to them. They don't talk with them.
They don't talk back. Oh, yeah.
They talk to them.
Yes, yes.
They don't talk with them.
Yeah.
And so there is no relationship. Because if my relationship fails with God, I can't have one with my babies.
You just can't.
So
it's a struggling if you are to go.
It's struggle.
Yeah.
So just like you said it, you made the connection.
Yes.
In our generation, there is something that is eating us up. We believe that where we connect with children is to give them things.
No.
Buy the latest Xbox or whatever. Buy the latest iPhone 14. Buy the latest. Give your child everything.
Oh.
If your child cries, give it to them. And we think I am raising them by indulging them.
Oh no. Before you give anything, give your children you.
Say it again.
Give yourself to your children before you give things. Because
How do
those,
I give myself to my children?
that is to avail time, quality time to them.
Yes.
Speak to them, give them more time to speak back to you. They
Yeah.
may even blame you of things you do. Before you argue with them, think, why do they say so?
Yes.
I used to have a job where I leave at 5 from the house and come back at around 8.
Yes.
I used to work very far away from my house, so I drive very early and come back very late.
Yeah.
One day, my daughter sat me down and said, do you really come back at home? I was like, yeah, I come back. I find you sleeping, I come back. And she asked again, are you sure you come back at home?
Oh.
Because I don't see you.
Many
I had
watching
to sit
that.
down on the carpet. And I got my daughter. I explained that you think may be a nonsense. You know, I work very far from here. So I leave very early before you wake up. By the time you wake up, I'm already gone. And you sleep early. But I'm going to try my best. Like for next days to come, I try to come early. I still came late, but she stayed awake to make sure that I come back. And whenever I could come in, she was like, okay, now I've seen you've come back, let me go to bed. And I said, no, let's have a talk. That is giving yourself to them. It's not about things.
You know, because we indulge the children.
Yeah.
You take them, you know, they're about to get holidays.
Yes.
And this is what you're going to get.
Yes.
Indulge them. Do you know, most fathers don't even do class days. It's always the mothers.
Oh.
Why do we believe it's always the mothers who do class days? They go for the visitation days. I've gone for visitation days to check on my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the men are numbered. You literally see mothers. This is very wrong.
Yeah.
You gotta learn to be there for your children. I attend visitation days. I purpose to do that. I go out to them. We talk.
Sure.
I make them my friends. But you see, if you've not known God and developed a relationship with God, you don't know how to build a relationship with your children. It becomes so hard.
Sure.
It becomes so hard.
It's really
but
painful.
Now, very painful. These kids need us.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, one time I was driving around. I had a lot of work to do, but then my son was going to sit his papers. And I was like, going to do his finals. And I was like, no. I got to stop everything.
And then go.
Yes, we had met him like a week before, but I said it was about 2 days to his final papers. And so I drove and I got to the school. I said, I want to talk to my son. And they were like, oh, okay, we'll bring him out. He came in. When he came in, he saw me. That boy was so excited.
Sure.
He came, he hugged me. Because of the relationship, we are able to hug.
Yes.
I grew up, I never got a hug from my father.
Me too.
You get it?
Yeah.
I never heard my father say, I love you.
So
these are things I'm giving to my children.
You have made a choice to do this.
I made a choice.
So I'm tired of men that continually blame their fathers, their ancestors, their genealogical way of doing things. This is...
My father was a drunkard, so I'm a drunkard.
Don't tell us about your father. Tell us about you.
About you and your posterity. What is going to come?
You know, these men we find along the way, and they're telling us about their father, how their father did not do A, B, C, D. My question I always pose to them, what are you doing? Having that history of your father didn't do A, B, C, D.
Then you do what he didn't do.
You do what he didn't do. You transact something that you lacked in your life.
So exactly. Yeah. And what I didn't receive is what I was giving him.
Yeah, that's what
when I was doing my finals, nobody showed up.
But now you have to show up.
But I have to show up.
And I don't wait for VDs personally. I don't wait for only VDs. I always visit at my choice.
At your choice. Some schools are just so strict, they won't let you in.
I'm telling you, if
but when you have the opportunity, you always use it.
Yeah, I use it.
But I went in there.
Before. I'm coming. I want to see my daughter.
Yes. To me, I went in there, talked to this young man. He looked at me. He hugged me, you know.
Yeah.
I said, are you ready? He said, Dad,
let's pray.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
But you coming at this time means a lot.
Yeah.
It means a lot.
Yes.
And I looked in his face and said, son, I love you. that my father never gave to me.
Oh, that's what you have
I
to do.
looked in his face. I said, son,
Yeah,
I love you.
yeah.
And let me tell you, exams are very good. We are expecting you to pass. So don't live in fear. We are with you. Son, I love you. Whether you pass or whatever grades you
Whatever
come in,
results, yeah,
I still love you.
yeah. You're my son.
You're my
regardless
son.
of your performance.
Regardless of your performance.
You're my
That is
son.
part of raising
Yeah, that's
this
it.
guy.
Yeah.
And you know, in that moment, he discovers who the friend is. I work to engage, to connect, to be a friend.
Yeah.
Because as he grows, before the peers can be friends, I am a friend.
You are.
He can turn to me at any moment, turn to me at any time.
As a counselor, as a friend, as a father, as a trainer, whichever way.
And let me bring this.
Yes.
We mentioned about indulgence. We think the best way to love your child is to indulge them. But indulging children is us running away from responsibility to give ourselves, like you say. We can't give ourselves, so indulge them.
We give things,
We give things. You go to a concert and you really do all stupid stuff when you would have stayed home and give yourself to the child. But you'd rather give them the phone, you'd rather give them the game, and you give them all these things to eat and do work, and you indulge them. But this is the danger of indulgence. Indulgence is not loving the child.
No.
Indulgence is because you hate yourself. Then you fear that if I don't give this to my child will hate me. You fear hate. Yet you actually hate yourself. But the reality is this, that when you love your child, the reason you don't indulge them, you give them, for example, I have a 4-year-old, I can give him my car keys. It doesn't mean I don't love him.
That's not love.
Many times he's coming and say, Daddy, I want to drive. And you look at him, you're 4-year-old. You can't even see what is ahead of you and you want to drive. But we have parents who believe I can make something like that for my child, make it so humongous. Oh, he's got to have a car. He can't even drive it. But because of showbiz, that's what our generation does. Because of showbiz, we are indulging the children. We think the more we indulge them, they'll get better. But this is the danger. When you indulge a child, they become more insecure. They become more insecure. When you indulge a child, they become more insecure. But when you choose to give boundaries to your child, that's the greatest security. Have you heard of what we call spoiled kids? Connect them with indulgence.
Wow. Yeah.
Their parents never built boundaries.
Yes.
We think they never built walls. We think if you build walls, you're taking the freedom away from a child. But the reality is this. If you don't build walls for your children, the government will build walls for them.
Yes.
And the government will place them behind walls. That's the prison.
Yes.
Because you never built walls around them. They didn't know limits. They never knew limits at all. They only knew indulgence.
Time is very important in family. Time is very, very crucial, very important in family. The way you divide your time to your family is very important. Now, this is how time speaks. How many hours do you spend, do you invest in your children will be transacted like after 20s.
Yes.
When your child grows from day 1 to 20 some years, we will see, we'll be able to tell how much time you invested in your child. When we, now we are talking about boundaries, we are talking about principles, we are talking about rules and regulations of the family. If you don't put those rules and regulations of the family, the government has a whole constitution against them.
Yes.
Now, you will find that whatever time you did not invest in your child, you will invest it eventually when he is in prison. You will cry. Leave alone
Yes.
other ways of like someone is in the prison of other matters.
Yes.
But when your child is not able to stand as a man, can be in prison because of the neglected responsibility,
Yes.
because of the misbehaviors and misconducts
Yes.
of life.
Yes.
That way, you will know that you missed it. You have missed it. A child is the only legacy you will leave behind when you are gone.
Yes.
A child is the only name will be
Yes.
speaking about you when you are gone. Make sure, before you put all other things in place, make sure you take care of your children.
You take care of your children.
Because these children bear your name, bear your DNA, bear your history, bear your performance.
And the name is the only thing that they can carry on even when you are gone. They say, my father. Who's your father?
They mention the name.
Oh, the name. Oh, that was
I
a very good man.
Yeah, that good man.
That good man. Please let this guy go on. You left them a legacy.
Sure.
So what you're doing is leaving a legacy for your children.
I have documented my father in all my documents.
Yes.
All my driving license, my passport, my indagamuntu.
Your father's
name. My
name.
father's name is.
Can you imagine?
Document.
And this is happening all over.
It is.
But dude, what name are you really giving out? What name are you really giving out?
That's where we're coming up to.
That's the question. What name are you giving out?
Why do they ask, who is your father?
Who is your father?
They are tracing your genealogy. They want to know.
And they are tracing your behavior.
They are tracing your behavior. It will come a time when your name as Cyrus is reflecting in your son's life. Like when your son is going to get married, they will ask, who is your father?
Who's your father?
They want to know.
They want to know.
They don't care.
Who, in other words, that's what determines your character.
That determines your character.
They may never know much about you, but by asking who your father is, they tell what your character is.
Some sensible parents like I am, and I know you are.
Yes.
When a boy comes into my house and wants to marry my girl,
who's your father?
The question is, who is your father? And after when you tell me your father, I'll ask for the location, the address.
Yes.
I'll personally
talk to him.
Go and talk to that father of yours.
Yes.
Imagine that day when I go to that father and find him in the bar, drunkard.
You cast doubts on the intention of his son.
Then I come back to this son and I say, are you really like your father?
Yes.
Oh, do you really? I mean, because I'm too much inquisitive of how you turn to be this when your father
is this.
Is this.
Because your father is supposed to produce
now
his likeness.
My assumption is you're just like your father. It is hard to explain yourself away from your father. So fathers, please reflect yourself in your children. Let your children bear your name with all confidence that you are this valuable, and exemplary father.
You've said it well.
Yeah.
You gotta beget yourself.
Yes.
And that takes discipline.
Sure.
Not this happy-go-lucky pleasure. You're in a bar, you're in these concerts, banging everything, and you think, what legacy are you living, for God's sake?
What name are you building?
You're a father, and you have 2 girlfriends, and you have a wife. What are girlfriends doing in your life as a father? I'll be honest with you, you're killing yourself. You're destroying your legacy. It doesn't matter what you've achieved, but you're destroying your legacy, because what you're doing is what your children are learning. Children learn more by what you do than by what you say.
I have this. Now we talked about engrafting. Now, when you go out to girlfriends and eventually, like when you have children with outside the wardrobe, now you are engrafting other.
Oh God! You're engrafting another form, another kind into the stem.
Into the stem. Then you're going to suffer too much to hold that when the wind comes.
Yes, because it's not organic.
It's not organic. Now, sometimes you find these men are torn down because they engrafted a lot.
You've said it so well. They engrafted a lot. We know our time is running out.
Yes.
And would you just take 30 seconds and speak to the man in that camera? Because raising children begins with a man.
My brother, some of you, you are my father. Some of you, you are my brother, young brother. I'm this age, you see. I want to talk to you. Understand, know that whatever you do to your children is going to be reflected generations to come. You will never die because we're going to see you in your children and your grandchildren up to whatever time people will live on this planet Earth.
Whoa.
So before you give things to your children, give yourself to your children more than the things. Let things come as supplements or sustainers, but the best they need is you. Before you give yourself to your children, or before the children come into the picture like these new remarrieds, give your entire self to your woman. Because
Yes.
through this woman, you're going to have children. And that is when you'll understand what we mean when we say love, when we say a tree that is planted in God, gets nutrients from God, grows to a family, becomes a stem. You and your wife are inseparable. You become two, you begot children. So, my brother, never at one time think that maybe your children will your wife will substitute you. Never in life. You
That's
are
it.
never substituted. It
Yes.
is never God's plan.
Yes.
It is God started with you, gave you that seed of love. You gave it to this woman. She accepted. Both of you came together. Now you have children. As you dedicated time to this girl to become your wife, the same
Dedicate
time,
time.
dedicate it to your children, your girls, your boys, so that we want to see the difference between sons of God and sons of Belial.
Thank you so much. That was Pastor Philip Nyombi. You heard it. Guys, you heard it very good. Let me say this to you. I can't close this without this verse. The Bible is so clear. He says that a foolish son is an embarrassment to a father. You see, the discipline you spare your son when he is young,
Yeah,
or the rod you keep away from him,
yeah.
he will not keep away from you when you are old.
Oh.
He will whip you with it, yet you never whipped him when he needed a whipping. I'm talking about love.
Yeah.
You never disciplined him when he needed discipline. You're 70 right now, and what that guy is doing is just embarrassing you because you never did your work.
Never.
Those of you who still can, please give yourself, and you'll see it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being part of Unlocking Marital Bliss. And yes, you're coming with me to Masindi.
Yes, yes. Masindi people, we are coming.
Thank you.
At Rehoboth Christian Fellowship.
November 25, 26.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining Unlocking Marital Bliss. We'll see you next time. Remember, marriage is easy, ignorance is hard.
Unlocking marital bliss.